So tomorrow it's a 1 o'clock kickoff at the Lincoln Financial Field in one of the great cities in North America and the United States, the US of A. That's Philly, PA, the hometown Eagles, 4-6 taking on the New York Giants, 3-7, the world champion Eagles. I can't believe how easily I'm able to say that. Now, when I previewed the Giants and the Eagles' first matchup on October 11th, I still had to take a deep breath and gear up to just say that, right? So it shows what respect I have for the Eagles and their fans. However, you have to get in a nudge, a little jab when you can. Giants have 4 world championships to the Eagles is 1. Ain't that right? So the Giants have been able to hoist that Lombardi Cup 4 times. Now, one of the things that those Giants' Super Bowl winning teams, just about all of them had, that the Eagles have this year in common, and that's the old Super Bowl hangover. Looked that way last week in New Orleans. Saints and Drew Brees stomped the Eagles 48-7. Carson Wentz, a career-low passer rating in that game, 31.9. 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. He was ineffective. He was effective against the Giants on October 11th. Helped bury the Giants, 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Alshon Jeffrey. Eagles won that game 34-13. Looks like a different Giants team since then. And the Eagles trending the opposite direction. 2 straight losses. Giants, 2 straight wins. Last week, a shootout on the home turf at the Meadowlands. 38-35. Eli Manning, almost perfect. 17 of 18. Nearly 250 yards passing. 3 touchdowns. Hit Saquon Barkley on one of them. Saquon continues to impress as much as Eli does the last couple weeks. When Eli gets protection, Eli can make things happen. Saquon, and he right now he's making things happen even more so with a solid offensive line than he was with no line. And that makes sense. How good is Saquon? Right now, he made history. One of 6 players to ever have more than 1,200 yards from scrimmage to go along with 10 touchdowns in their first 10 games in the National Football League, and he just seems like a great kid off the field as well. I'm continuing to enjoy watching 26 run wild each and every week for the Giants, particularly last week. And you got to give Coach Pat and his staff a lot of credit because they sat down with Saquon and showed him some runs that Shermer had highlighted when he was the offensive coordinator last season with the running backs, Delvin Cook, Murray, some of the other guys that ran for the Minnesota Vikings, and what they were able to do, and not only looking for the home run, the big play, but able to plod their way, run north and south, smash mouth football, get 3 to 5 yards at a clip, and then use their natural ability to break off the home run when it takes over and when the opportunity arises. So Saquon showed he can be that durable ground and pound back with the ability again to break a big one. And it was the all-around package last week, and I love seeing it. And again, props to the Giants coaching staff. So the Eagles have had to make do on offense in their running backs corpse, Wendell Smallwood, a couple other guys doing humans work for the injured Jay Ajayi. He's out for the year. The wide receiving corps also has had some patchwork here and there. Alshon Jeffries has been injured. They made the trade for Golden Tate. Nelson Aguilar coming on of late. But the main man for the Eagles, no doubt about it, that tight end, Zach Ertz, arguably the top tight end in football. He's been spectacular. Ranked 3rd with receptions amongst tight ends, 77 on the year. Going to be a tough matchup for that Giants defense, particularly Landon Collins and Michael Thomas, who were great last week. Giants making it happen on defense. How about it? 4 turnovers. They get the touchdown on defense, a great one by Alec Ogletree, one of the best touchdowns you'll ever see. Meanwhile, the Giants are going to be pretty healthy tomorrow. Just Kerry Winwell, he'll be missed. He'll be out because of the concussion. The Eagles defense, all kinds of trouble. Linebacker Jordan Hicks out with an injury. The defensive secondary, a mess. Jalen Mills out. Sidney Jones out. Avonte Maddox also out. We'll see if the Eagles and their revamped linebacking corps and defensive secondary can take on the big names and big guns of the Giants. I mentioned Saquon, mentioned Eli, and Odell Beckham Jr. has carried his own the last couple of weeks as well. The Giants find themselves as 5-point underdogs in Philly, where the weather should be decent. A little bit of wind, west-northwest, 11 miles an hour. Kickoff at 1. They're calling for mid-50s and sunshine throughout the game. The temps should stay in the mid-50s. Could see some cloudy skies above. Now, in addition to that loss on October 11th on the home turf, the Giants, again, fell to the Eagles 34-13 in the last 20 games, okay? This is how bad the Giants have been against the Eagles. They've lost 16 times. The last 9, the Giants have lost 8. All time, though, the Giants lead in this series, and it's quite an advantage at that. I should say hardly an advantage, but it's a pretty amazing one. 84-83-2. How about that? The most memorable game highlighted about a week ago because of the 40th anniversary. The Eagles' 5-point win over the Giants on November 19th, 1978. It's always worth taking a look out. Let's do that right now. Who doesn't know this guy, right? Victory, an upset win as the Giants lead 17-12. The Sargent fumble. All the Giants had to do is take a knee. Herm Edwards, now the coach of my alma mater football team, ASU, who had that win today over U of A. As that play defined the awful, awful period the Giants had in the 70s into the early part of the 80s, when they finally were able to turn around in 86 and win their first Super Bowl. It was just the microcosm of all horrible plays at a horrible, dark era in Giants football. And that one, certainly the most famous between these two long-time rivals. NFC East, meanwhile, do I dare to dream? Do I Stephanie Mangano it for all you Saturday Night Fever fans and have delusions in grandeur? The Giants playoffs? You're talking about playoffs? I'm not there yet. One game at a time, right? One step at a time for the Giants. But you can dare to dream. Why not? Let's take a look at that NFC East. It's up for grabs. I don't care what you say. Cowboys, Redskins face off on Turkey Day. I hope, by the way, everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Cowboys get the win. Both teams 6-5. A scary 6-5 for the Redskins, of course, because that scary injury to Alex Jones. How creepy is that? 33 years to the date when it happened with Lawrence Taylor to Joe Theismann. It happens to Alex Jones, Alex Smith, pardon me, who has the devastating injury to his knee, broken in 2 places. Same one as Theismann. The only difference here, I'm hoping the ending is better for Smith than it was, unfortunately, for Theismann. I always liked Smith. I hope comes back. Theismann never came back from that play. But nevertheless, Eagles 4-6, Giants 3-7. Giants play everyone in division one more time. Could there be a miracle? I don't know. One game at a time, but it starts tomorrow for the Giants against the Eagles. For the Eagles, this would be a devastating loss. Devastating loss to try to repeat as champions. For the Giants, it would keep the chains moving and it would give them hope. We should see who comes out tomorrow with the win in Philly. We will see, unless you get the third tie in franchise between these two franchises in that long history, right? Giants again, 84-83-2. Never know. How about the Cleveland Browns this year? 2 ties. So you just never know. But tomorrow, I think there will be a winner. Last couple weeks, I've taken the Giants. I've gotten lucky. They've won. How about that? What do I think is going to happen in Week 12? Let's take a look. Going with the Giants again. Rose's field goal late. 24-23. Giants collect the win in Week 12 against the Eagles. Enjoy the football tomorrow from Philly, PA in Week 12. I'm Matt Levine saying so long.